Madam Speaker in Mandarin, please. 年长者有3怕：1怕看医生，2怕进医院，3怕见账单。有了建国一代的配套，居民们告诉我，他们不需再担心了，可以放心了。建国一代从65岁开始，若享年100岁，可受益35年。有了这80亿的基金，我们确保这个配套不会中途终止，这让他们更安心。建国一代获得终身照顾，2代也松了一口气。一位居民，他的母亲70多岁了，他问我，将来他母亲的健保双全的保险费会不会继续上升？我说不会的，不单止不会上升，还会下降，可能对他来说会下降1半。他听了松了一口气。另外一位居民，他的母亲80多岁了，他问我，那么我呢？我母亲80多岁了，情况是一样吗？我说你的情况会更好，因为你的母亲将会得到足够的保健储蓄，让她购买健保双全，所以她也松了一口气，而且是一口大气。当然，2代也期望未来的财政预算案会一直好下去。要有好的财政预算案，就必须有好的经济表现。要社会更凝聚、更进步、更温馨，我们就必须能够持续发展。因此，经济要不断的转型，企业要不断的适应，劳动生产力也要不断的提升。只有这样，今天的2代才有能力照顾建国一代，未来也有这样，3代才能有能力照顾今天的2代。所以让我们一起努力，一代照顾一代，让大家都能安居乐业、安享晚年，让我们继续做一个独特的新加坡。Madam Speaker, in my chit-chat with union leaders, grassroots leaders and residents, feedback has been most positive. It is a good budget with both modes. A few of them asked me, when they turn 65, will they be able to join the pioneer generation? I explained to them why no. Because I told them, in my case, I'm now 60 years old. In 1965, I was 11 years old, since I was only a primary 5 student, so I do not qualify to be in the pioneer generation. And I asked them, by the time I turned 65, how old would I have been in 1965? They thought for a while, still 11 years old. And I told them, it doesn't matter how old I grow into, 65, 70, 85, I could not change the fact that I was only 11 years old in 1965. And that's the reason why I will never be able to join the pioneer generation. So when union leader heard this, he was really disappointed. He said, oh no, no hope then. I said, yes, of course there is hope. Today we honor the generation before us. Years from now, if we continue to do well, if the government is still clean, responsible and caring, if budget is still healthy, maybe the generation after us may decide to honor our generation as well. So therefore, yes, there is always hope. To ensure that our budget will always be good year after year, of course we must honor the past, take care of the present. But I think what's even more important is we must always prepare our economy, our businesses, and our workforce for the future, so that we can sustain what we have today. Good growth, good employment, good wage increases. and more importantly, the resources to do more good for our people. We are seeing encouraging signs on the ground. Yesterday, member Liang Yinghua said that PIC has become a verb. I agree with him. In fact, indeed, there is healthy sign that the economy is shifting to a new track. However, we are not full steam ahead yet. Productivity gain has been low. The good news is we have stopped the decline in 2013 from -2% to 0%. But the bad news is there was no increase in 2013, 0%. There are many reports of productivity and innovation in the media. So my union leaders ask me, what happened? Are those innovation, are those productivity gain for real? If so, how is that our productivity gain last year was 0? So I have to find a simple way to explain to my union leaders. Let's say labor productivity across the sectors, across companies, across workers, let's say it ranges from 0 to 200. 0 lowest, 200 highest. And let's say the overall average of labor productivity is 100. 0, 200, so average 100. Basically, there are two forces at work. One force is pushing up the labor productivity towards 102, 103. Whereas there's another one pressing down labor productivity towards 99, 98, and so on. Now, if these two forces are equal, up cancel off by down, we end up having 0. And that's what happened in 2013. So what is this negative force that's pushing down our labor productivity? Back to my same example. If average overall labor productivity is 100, imagine if those sectors with labor productivity of less than 100, 30, 50, 70, if they continue to grow, hire more workers at that level of productivity, which is lower than the national average, they will bring down the overall average national labor productivity because of the average down effect. So for example, there are many sectors in Singapore today that are growing and they are below our national average in terms of labor productivity. Ranges from cleaning, construction, security, retail, landscaping, cashier, ticket sales, waiter, material handling, pest control, light goods vehicle drivers, low-end production, and so on. I'm very sure our interpreter will have problem catching up with me, but I'm browsing through this just to give the impression that indeed we do have many sectors in Singapore today. They are still below national average, and worse still, they are still growing very fast in terms of manpower requirement. These sectors, using outdated tools, equipment, and methods, they continue to be manpower and labor intensive. So if nothing is done to improve these sectors, they will keep averaging down the overall national labor productivity. What about the positive force, the one that's pushing up our labor productivity in Singapore? When we transform existing sectors, whether they are above or below national average, as long as you transform them to improve skills and productivity sector by sector, they will add to improvement in our labor productivity. Or when we grow new sectors with higher labor productivity than national average, again, as they employ more people, they will average up our national level productivity. So therefore, as long as we're able to create new jobs, good jobs, better jobs with better productivity and good pay, we will be able to progressively upgrade the labor productivity in Singapore. So for our national labor productivity to gain, for the gain to go up, we need to up the positive and down the negative. Only when the positive force is stronger than the negative force, then we'll see a net gain in our national labor productivity. To up the positive, all existing jobs, good or bad, we must make them better. We must turn old manufacturing into new manufacturing. We must turn old services into new services. We must try to professionalize every job. Doesn't matter whether they are high-end job or low-end job. Every job can be professionalized. Ask the gardener in Japan. Ask the cleaner in Germany. Ask the waiter in USA. They will tell you it is possible to professionalize every job. At the same time, we must create more new jobs, especially jobs of the future, to meet the aspiration of our people, especially the younger generation. So from future manufacturing to future services, those driven by technology, innovation and knowledge, so that we can be more future ready than the competition. At the same time, we need to down the negative. Many jobs in Singapore today are still not good enough. They are done in a way many years behind other developed countries. Cheap labor was an easy solution of the past, but not anymore. Instead of being a laggard, I think we must strive to be an early adopters of best practices, technology solution, especially labor-saving devices in the Asia Pacific and better still in the world. So putting them together, up the positive, down the negative, means we have to upgrade and professionalize existing jobs. We have to attract good jobs of the future, and at the same time, we must be prepared to transform low-wage, low-skill sectors to become less labor-intensive. And if we can do all that, I believe 2 to 3% gain in labor productivity can be within our reach. Several members yesterday and today say that it's only natural to ask for more during budget debate. I agree with them because I'm asking for more too. But I'm not asking for more to be in budget 2014. But I'm asking and calling for more action outside of this parliament on the ground. More action by all agencies, by businesses, industry bodies, unions, workers, and consumers too. Now the labor movement, we walk our talk. We are doing more on the ground. Yes, the labor MPs who spoke before me, they shared with this House how we are strengthening our 4P support for all callers, all ages, and all nationalities of workers. At the same time, we are updating the wage structure too. In the past, when we tried to move away from seniority-based system, the labor movement spearheaded the reduction of the minimum-maximum ratio in many companies, in many job sectors. When we try to minimize job losses during downturn, the labor movement spearheaded flexible wage system. And now, today, as we try to strive for quality growth, the labor movement was championing the progressive wage model to support this transition towards quality growth. We're happy that the labor movement is not alone. In fact, many businesses, workers, supported by many agencies, we are doing more together and lead the way in this process of change. For example, in conservancy cleaning, with right-on sweeper, cleaner can now clean pavement, drains, and grass patch easier, smarter, and safer, much faster, and at the same time save labor and with higher wages. In landscaping, workers can now cut grasses using a remote control grass cutting robot. Again, faster with less labor and higher salary. In hotel, hydraulic pump under the bed helps the mature worker to clean the hotel rooms easier, smarter and safer, and faster too. So being able to clean more rooms for them means more pay, and at the same time it means less need for more manpower for the hotels. In the marine sector, welders have now become operators of welding machines. So instead of doing welding by hand, they now operate welding machines. So again, they can do their job now faster, with more consistent standard, and at the same time, higher salary, and able to work till older. In food factory, installation of packaging machines has improved productivity by many times. Again, higher wages with fewer workers. In F&B, the use of mobile ordering, installation of up-to-date kitchen equipment, nurturing of management trainees are helping some F&B to grow faster and more profitable too. Workers are at the same time paid better. Some members may be aware that the perfect soft-boiled egg is actually 64 degrees. Anything lower than that, too raw. Anything higher than that will be too cooked. How do we ensure that every egg is soft-boiled at 64 degrees? F&B 18 chefs, recently they installed a machine, and that machine will produce egg after egg at 64 degrees, and you'll turn out always perfect every time. So we make the jobs of the workers easier, smarter, safer, and yet at the same time, because of higher productivity, they are paid more too. In security, central monitoring system enables security guards to monitor multiple sites at one time, at the same time. As a result, less manpower needed and more pay for the workers. In electronic manufacturing, PMETs are being trained to become T-shaped PMETs, T-shaped horizontal skill and deep vertical skill. As a result, they are able to become more productive, more competitive, and more importantly, more employable too. In shopping mall, landlords are now helping tenants with recruitment and conducting trainings on site so that these SMEs in all the shopping malls can send their workers for training to improve skill, productivity, and wages. And in fact, in a growing number of sectors, we're also seeing the upgrading of IT and poly graduates into professionals and specialists through professional accreditation. So by breaking the glass ceiling for the IT graduates and the poly graduates, more are now able to move up the skill, productivity, job, and wage ladder. And the list goes on. If members feel that these illustrations are just common sense, actually I agree with you. Unfortunately, after years of high growth in manpower and unskilled labours, common sense is not so common on the ground anymore. So I'm very glad that some are changing, but at the same time, we are sad that some still resist change. They rather go out of business or get out of Singapore than to change and upgrade their operations here. It's their choice, but workers are the ones who suffer the pain most. The world is changing fast and wait for no one. We need a greater and broader sense of urgency. Every change we make today may not always turn out right tomorrow. But if we do not take risk, take responsibility, as advocated by Member Janelle yesterday, I'm very sure many things will turn out wrong in the future. Dog bites man is no news. Man bites dog is big news. My speech today is very much a dog bites man kind of speech, but I believe in what I say, what I see, and how I feel. Manpower has been and will always be our most critical resources. There are three types of bricklayer. The first type, the good type, they look at their job as laying bricks one by one. The better type look at their job as building walls, wall by wall. But the best type look at their job as building houses, schools, and hospitals. We all want our workers to be of the best kind. We want them to be engaged, be motivated, to always give their very best. But then, management, organizations, leaders, are we at the same time prepared to engage them and embrace them wholeheartedly? We must help them to strive for better skill, better productivity, better job, and better pay. We must strive to make every job a better job, every worker a better worker. If we do that, then we will have good business, good economy, and good budget year after year for many years to come. So with that, Madam Speaker, I support the motion.